Welcome back to another episode of COVID-19 Franchise Leaders Respond. I'm your host, Red Boswell, president of IFPG, and we are here today with Jason Leverant. Jason is president of AtWork. AtWork. This is a different one than we've been talking to lately, and they've got some great insights on what is happening out there in this world in franchising and how it's being impacted by this crazy virus we're all dealing with today. Jason, welcome to the call.
Red, thank you so much for having me, and excited to share our story and the journey through these crazy times.
And so, Jason, where are you located right now?
So our corporate headquarters, I'm here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So East Tennessee has had relatively limited impact from the virus, but we're still feeling it just like anywhere else.
So your family, and your staff, all good?
Yeah, all of our corporate team is excellent. Quite frankly, knock on wood, we haven't had any reports of any issues with the virus or any positive tests throughout our franchise system. And we've got, many staff members throughout the country. So again, knock on wood, we haven't seen any impact yet, thankfully. So
tell you what, I'd have to work long and hard to find a place prettier than Knoxville. That's you're in a gorgeous area. All right, sir. So help us understand who is AtWork, the size, the scope, franchisee count, locations, geography. Help us just get a handle.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. So we are a national staffing franchise. So we help people open up what I call commercial staffing businesses. So that's your traditional administrative, clerical, light industrial style staffing operations. Our current footprint, we span about 28 states. I jokingly, we're as far north as Maine and as far west of California, but a lot of open space in between. So we're like I said, about 28 states, depending on as we're opening and entering new states. We're around the 83 unit mark when it comes to location count. And leading up to this virus, we were rapidly expanding. I mean, we were setting the bar every single year from a standpoint of growth, and we were well on track. 2020 was starting off as a phenomenal year, and it obviously took a turn with the virus, as it did for everybody. But our scope was great. We were rated from a size perspective and revenue. We were right in around the 45th largest staffing firm in the United States from a revenue perspective. We have roughly, I want to say 55 franchise owners. So we have some multi-unit owners within our mix as well. Some very large, some are satisfied with one location, but that kind of gives you an idea of the footprint and the geographic scope.
When you have that kind of scope, you can really get some insights on where things are happening and growth, shrinkage, et cetera. So how has AtWork as an organization and maybe regionally, how have you been impacted?
Well, it's interesting because we're a bit fortunate because in the staffing world, we are kind of an extension of our end customers.
That's all right. Your phone and my phone rang at the same time, and here we are trying. We both broke the rule.
Yeah. No. So let me go back and start. So at AtWork as a franchisor, we are, as a staffing franchise, we are an extension of our clients effectively. So many of our customers that we serve are considered critical infrastructure that the CISA website details out. So again, we had that fortunate benefit where many of our locations were able to remain open and still have people working through these times. Now, it did impact the various industry types that you would expect. Our hospitality business was basically shuttered. There was some industry, some manufacturing, some distribution that was considered non-essential, and we couldn't remain open. And so we have seen an impact, but when we see that, we see opportunity too. And so our franchisees, we've been really just inundating them with education and ways to really market themselves during these difficult times. And it's that pivot, it's that shift of that target business from maybe non-critical infrastructure business over to critical infrastructure business, because those organizations are still in need of people. And that's what we bring to the table as great employees for these jobs.
So you lost some, you're gaining some, you're pivoting some. Overall, a little bit negative, a little down.
Yeah, so it varies, and I feel like we've already hit the floor and we've bounced back up. The industry as a whole is down like 30, 35, almost 40%. And because when you think about the nature of temporary employees, they're there when they're needed, and they're the first to be added back and the first to be potentially removed in any kind of economic event. So we're following suit with the industry. I'm hopeful. We've actually performed slightly better than the industry, which is really exciting to see that. With many of the markets, and we're looking at other countries now, of seeing those that came out of the viral pandemic and have gone on the other side. From a staffing perspective, we've seen double-digit explosive growth back. It ramped right back up to where it was, and I'm very hopeful that here in the U.S. and in some of these markets, we're going to see similar return to normalcy. It's going to take time, but if any indication from some of the Eastern markets, some places in China, they were showing double-digit GDP growth. And so staffing typically follows that GDP ramp. So if we can see that bounce back and we see kind of a U or a U-shaped return to the economy, I'm hopeful that we're gonna see that here, and we're gonna see a nice explosive return. It's always a good reminder too, when people see things like this, why what we do in the staffing world is help augment workforce and help people be more flexible with their workforce. That on the return, we're going to see a significant increase in the usage and partnerships with temporary staffing firms. We saw it after the 08-09 financial crisis, where our industry grew greater than it ever had been in history. And we may see similar growth now. I don't know that. We were already on a crazy ramp leading up to it. So time will tell, but I'm optimistic that we're going to see a nice positive return.
I'm with you. One of my favorite quotes of this season we're going through together is Ray Titus said 3 weeks ago, and he's got 10 brands in franchising. We firmly believe we'll do 12 months of business in the last 6 months of the year. I'm holding on to that one, baby.
That's awesome. I like that. I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we got a better idea of your organization as a whole, how you've been impacted and some of the changes they're making. What about you as a franchisor? How have you changed your communication, your support, anything that the franchisors out there could learn from it?
Well, one of the things we were watching this very, very early on, before it even really had a huge impact here in the U.S. And you hit it on the head. It's all about communication to your franchise owners. It's all about being a part of it. We call it the AtWork family. You're a part of the family. We need to communicate. Even if we didn't have necessarily a lot of details to share, we each week, multiple times through the week, we brought Zoom calls together with open forum town hall discussions to discuss the various topics that we had. And we're still holding these because it's all about, communication, but over communicating, because these are challenging times. People's lives, their financial ability to take care of their own families, our franchise owners' families, have been impacted. So we want to be there with them. We want to be there for them. And we don't want them to feel like they're on an island by themselves. So for example, this week already, we had 2 educational webinars earlier so on Monday morning, we did a marketing strategy via social media with kind of the post pandemic response. And in the afternoon, we did a sales related webinar with our owners for selling in this new state of operation. How do we remote sell? How do we engage contactless, if you will? When we're in a B2B based sales role, we've got to modify what we're doing. I think the prior week, we probably did 5 other webinars, just education. We got we're getting more participation than ever before because they want it, they need it, they're eating it. But then we're recording it, we're dumping it back out, we're exchanging tools. I feel like this has brought us together as a franchise system more than we've ever seen before. It's pulled some of our less engaged owners out into the mix, and they're realizing, wow, look at the tools and resources that AtWork franchise is offering to me. I got to take advantage of these things. So it's been pretty awesome.
They would never have that were they on their own.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We and side note, and shameless plug to franchising like we're all doing here now, I've had independent staffing owners because I'm heavily involved. I get very, very heavily involved with the American Staffing Association and the trade association that represents the staffing industry. So I've got a deep contact of independent staffing offices, and they've reached out saying, help, I need your help. And I'm like, hey, join the system, baby. come on board. So yeah.
They're benefits with membership.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, you mentioned the webinars. What platform are you using for those?
So we vary. Zoom is obviously the preferred method. We had embraced Zoom quite some time ago in regards to really making sure that our owners knew how to use it. We were using it internally funny enough, we were actually in the midst of a conversion of our internal systems over from a different platform to the Microsoft suite of online products, Office 365, now Microsoft 365. So we were in a really kind of convenient space where we immediately were able to roll out Teams to our staff. They had already, we started kind of trickling it out, and it was within our roadmap this year actually to make a full pull everybody over to a Teams ecosystem. Prior to that, I'm pointing at my desk here, but we were issuing Amazon Echoes out to our owners, and all of our owners had these shows where we could video chat and direct line of communication. So we're all about video. That's where we're moving toward. For the last couple of years, we were moving towards video-based communication. This has just helped accelerate that. So we were in the right place at the right time, shifting over to Teams. I would say our group meetings, though, were all held on Zoom, though. So.
I got to concur with the Echo Spot, Amazon Echo Spot, little round. Tell you what, when I came on, see my whole team is in Jersey.
Yeah.
I've got one in Santa Fe, nearly a dozen in New Jersey, and here I am in Dallas. And so that Echo Spot has been such a blessing. I got it way before this pandemic. All I say is, Alexa, drop in on Christine, and boom, she's right there.
You just activated mine. Hold on, let me mute it.
Yeah.
It works. No, we actually, at one of our annual conferences, we bought like 80 of these things and gave them away. These are the big. I'll lift it up. This is the big boy. It's like the 11-inch. I don't know if you can see it on my desk. Let me turn the.
Almost. Oh.
It's the gigantic one. Yeah. So, but it was a killer device. But now, I mean, I hate to say it's become obsolete. No offense, Alexa over here. But with Teams, it bakes it into their email. So we issue an email to an owner, we immediately can video chat them. But yeah, these things are awesome.
I have Alexa envy.
Yeah, it's all it's all about engagement, though. It's all about that face to face. I mean, a call is great, but doing what we're doing right here, this is awesome. Yeah.
It's so fast and easy. I mean, I've gotten so lazy. I don't have to get up. If she worked on the other side of this wall, it would be easier to say, "Hey, Christine, there."
Absolutely.
So it's been a fascinating blessing of communication. Time is money. Make it easy, make it fast, make it simple, and it works great.
Absolutely.
All right, franchise development. We all want to know about that. Two pieces of it. Let's first hit the piece on the pipeline that was there 5 weeks ago. What has happened to that pipeline? Have they paused? Have they ran for the hills and disappeared? Has anyone come over the line and been awarded a franchise? What are you seeing there?
I would say it's mixed. Most of those that were serious about the opportunity are still with us, and they're waiting it out. They see the end. They see that this is a temporary thing, and the decision that they were planning on making was a long-term commitment. It was a life change for them, a career change for them. So knowing that there's an end in sight, we were able to retain a number of the leads that were in the pipeline at the point of discovery day to close. I mean, our rate, we're 90% at discovery day, so they're going to close if they're coming to our discovery days. So
you doing virtual?
Knock on wood, we haven't lost a lot of folks through that portion of the pipeline, and I get reports back from our franchise sales team that from a lead development perspective, it's still robust. We're still seeing lots of territory checks coming in from our various broker and coach partners that are out there. So we're still seeing movement. To be honest, I don't think we're going to see a lot of closes until we start seeing reopening. But now as we're starting to see these reopenings, our franchise sales team is reaching out saying, "Hey, now's the time to hit the gas. We need to go now, because once we're out of this, you're going to miss the opportunity to get back on that ramp." So that is where our pressure we're pushing back now to say, let's move. It's time to go to those that were with us through the process and had got to that point. So.
Yeah, and to help us understand two pieces, what's your item 7? What's that all-in investment range approximate? And then how fast do they get from award to open? What's the timeline?
Yeah, I think it's 164. We just modified it for a new year. 164 to I think 210,000 is the all-in. So relatively low cost, all things considered. And typically from execution to open, it's about a 90-day opening period. So our opening requirements are quite limited compared to some of the larger food franchises and things of that sort. Staffing offices are not really elaborate or have a huge amount of requirements to be pedal to the metal. So.
It will have a different world in 90 days. I mean, if they're not open
exactly.
then, you know, like you said, pent up demand, they need to be open then. That makes
Exactly.
complete
So
sense.
it's, you know, for us, it's let's go now and get this thing rolling. And we've had those discussions, and we're seeing some positive movement. So I'm optimistic. You know, will we see 12 months worth of numbers in 6 months? I'll report back in December. How about that? So,
Same
yes.
here.
Yeah.
We're certainly seeing on the pipeline side. I a couple days ago compared the first half of February, the first half of March, and the first half of April. The territory checks. Territory checks are a leading
Yeah.
indicator of how things are going, right? That's the front of the pipeline for us. And they were almost identical. There was a couple
Hey.
percentage points less in the first half of April, which was a huge hallelujah, frankly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Absolutely.
to be
Yeah.
able to see that kind of pipeline. Now, I understand folks in the pipeline might slow down, but overall, the pipeline is getting full. And I hear
Well,
that
you know,
over and over.
there's, I'm sure you guys measure the kind of the drag, I guess, or the close rate on territory checks to closes. I'm curious to see how that KPI runs for you guys when you start running those checks. But
You know,
like you said, these are big decisions that are being made with people realizing this is a short-term event. This is a finite event. What we're
you know
dealing
something else on that I've been hearing a lot is the franchise development folks have been seeing a higher quality of candidate coming into the process now. Now, if they're already in the process, those risk-averse candidates are closing because they've been through it. They're not worried. They know it's going to rebound. And then the front end of the funnel is getting, maybe it's down a little, but those that are coming in are the
all
ones
the
you want
time.
coming
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Those are the
Well,
ones who aren't scared off. Those are the ones
no,
who are serious about it, right? So the
not
tire
afraid.
kickers you get are not going to be coming out of the woodwork. These are ones too, and in this time they have to reflect at home if they are stuck under stay-at-home orders, to reflect on where am I going with my career? Is this the opportunity? Is this now I have time to qualify and validate and vet out this next opportunity? I've always wanted to do it. I've never had time to look into it. Could this be the time that they're doing it? So.
You know, Jason, you mentioned a moment ago about discovery days, and I completely glossed over that. How are you handling those now?
Well, you know, remote Zoom is the platform to be used for discovery days,
That's
and
new,
moving
though.
forward, we're thinking about, you know, shifting and providing an option to do virtual. I mean, we don't see any, you know, outside of the true, you know, touchy feely. I'm in front of you. We can go to lunch together. We can spend time interpersonal. You know, despite that, from a content perspective and the actual quality of the information delivered, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So.
Had you been doing them prior to this?
No, we were always face to face because we wanted that face to, you know, in the staffing industry, we've always been a very face to face relationship driven industry. And so we needed to be there in front of them. But now, you know, the people are becoming more accepting. I don't want to say we will stop doing Zoom discovery days or virtual discovery days. It's an intriguing proposition. That also goes for our initial franchise training and ongoing trainings as well too. You know, we've always done e-learnings, but we just still, it's like, you know, again, getting over the hump and that kind of fear, I guess, if you will, and maybe it's an unnecessary fear of losing that connection to the owner and losing that value that the franchisor brings to the table when they're not here. Is it real to that prospect? Is it real to that new owner now when they're going through it? Or is it like an online e-learning class or something like that? Is the value perceived less than a course at Harvard versus they're on campus or something I've done at my desk online? Is the value still the same? To be determined. I don't know yet. So.
Exactly right. Well, I know a lot of folks in the development world certainly are loving these discovery days. Now, there was a learning curve, but you know, time kills all deals, and
Yep.
you've got to,
This is speed. Yeah.
hey, let's do a discovery day tomorrow. You know,
Yep.
rather than
Yep.
have to, okay, well, let's book a flight for 3 weeks from now, and let's see what the pricing is. And oh, I can't make that one, so I'll do the next month. And now the virtual nature of it's allowing the process to speed up, and sometimes the training to be sped up. So,
Absolutely. I see huge value. And again, I think this has forced everybody to be more accepting of this virtual type engagement and being able to build rapport without being in front of them. So, you know, again, we'll see. I like it. We'll see though.
yeah, exactly. It's a little early to make a call. So, Jace, as we wrap, look at that. I haven't even met you. I'm calling you Jace because we're bonding and we
That's right,
haven't
man.
even had that
Virtually.
handshake.
Virtually. Yeah.
Yes. It's just proof that Discovery Days were virtual.
Yeah. Are you ready to buy a franchise, Red? Are you going to come join us?
Let's go. Hey, so Jason, any additional insights, advice, predictions for the franchise community?
You know, I've said this to everybody. This is temporary. So many people have, and we've seen this. I mean, I say that, and I don't mean to come off flippantly. This is temporary. We will get through this, and many people have been just devastated by this, and from a financial perspective. But seeing as we're coming out, building your plans, don't give up hope. We're gonna come out of this, and I'm hopeful that we're gonna see a positive and a strong return to the economy. You know, we'll get right back on track where we were beginning of 2020, end of 2019. You know, for us, it's a commitment to what we originally started. We had a huge influx of new owners coming in and open up in the beginning of 2020. You know, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to rock and roll in 2020, and just got the rug ripped out from under them. But fortunately, knock on wood, we've seen zero churn. We're not going to lose any owners through this because they're staying resilient, they're pivoting, they're doing the right things, they're keeping their eyes focused on the end of this, which is coming, and that's really the key. You know, we look at it now from a scope perspective. This is going to be one quarter effectively of negative impact. Can you hang for a quarter? You know, to anybody who's got new franchisees that have come on board, you know, look at it like a blip in the radar, but they surely have been capitalized enough to maintain 3 months of liquid to pull out of this and and move forward. And if you're a franchisee, lean on your franchisor for that support and that help. Lean on that community. Take advantage of the resources that they're bringing to the table, because there's so many that forget why they paid all that money in the first place to join the franchise system and why they pay ongoing royalties. Take advantage of it. Use and abuse it. That's what I tell our owners all the time is use and abuse us. Take advantage of us. That's what we're here for, and it's to help promote that group. We're all in it together. So
whenever a couple years back, or maybe more, when I was a franchisor, in my lobby, I had franchisees don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this, greater than any other time, perhaps, they get to see. Do you care?
Absolutely.
Are you
Absolutely.
helping me? How? And so you're bonding tighter than ever, and you're going to rise out of this with that same bond and that same amount of trust.
Yeah. Oh, it's phenomenal. I think this is, and that's where people, you know, it makes people stop and examine what they're doing on all fronts and realize who's really there to help them and who's there to take advantage of them. And I hate to say it that way, but that's true. That's just what it is. And I hope that many of the franchisors listening are bringing that positive energy, that support, and that service. And I love that example. I'm gonna have to get that quote from you again and get that on my desk somewhere. So.
Hey, no, you can't put it on your desk. Got to be 11-inch letters in your
huge
lobby.
In our lobby.
Yes.
Then it's got to be in the front, the front of the building. So yeah.
Or a tattoo.
Yeah. That's commitment, right? That's commitment, man.
Yeah, baby. Well, awesome, Jason. Thank you so much for your time today, guys. Jason Leverant with AtWork, and I'm Red Boswell, IFPG. Look at that. I got the right hand instead of doing this. IFPG and COVID-19 Franchise Leaders Respond. We'll see you in the next episode. And if you want to share, if you've got some real value that the community needs to hear, like we heard from Jason today, hit me up. Let's talk. Thanks again.